Hello everyone, it's Amy and I am here for a supplement video to the Build Your Stash and Craft. I am going to decorate the paintbrush holder that we made this week. And what I'm going to do first, one thing I did want to tell you is that my masking tape was not the best masking tape, and there was so much pressure where I had folded over all of my edges that it was pushing the masking tape off. So all I did was I just took some regular, this is just some of the regular sticky glue from the Dollar Tree, and I just put it on one of my really cheap paintbrushes from the Dollar Tree, the ones with the terrible fibers on them. But it worked really good for the glue because I would just pick up some glue and I just stuffed it down in those holes and then just pushed it together. I did it all the way around, set it on its side, and put my heavy book on it that way and then this way for a while, just to hold those all down because the masking tape was peeling back. So I did want to tell you that because that could happen with yours. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover it with, I'm going to use my water glue, and I'm going to cover it with some funnies out of the newspaper, and then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to just after it dries, I'm going to use my tissue paper and make it match my roll top box and my extra drawer box. But I'm not going to go over the top, I'm only going to go to the top. So I think I'll take my straight edge and put it right on there. Here we go. Actually, I guess I better finish this whole side. But I'm very happy with the way that this turned out. It holds the paintbrushes so nicely. And I hope that you enjoy making some storage too. I'm a big storage fanatic. Everything has to be in its place. And so I like to have a place for everything. But good for me, not so great for my family sometimes. Because if they move something, then they get in trouble. Well, only if they move something that's mine. They can move their stuff all they want to. But I know where everything is at. When I go to get it, I expect it to be there. I am going to just rip this right down here at the corner. I'll do that on both sides while I'm at it so that I can do this bottom. I'm definitely going to wrap the bottom around because I had cut my bottom off, or cut it open, so that, whoops, I guess that one's not going to wrap around. I cut my bottom open to put some tissue paper on the inside to hold the paintbrushes better. And so I'm going to make sure that I wrap around the bottom, and that will give it more strength. When you put this water glue and newspaper on something, it's basically the same like as paper mache, and it makes it very strong. And this is the biggest thing. When you make something, you want it to last. And so you want to try and do what you can to strengthen it up a little bit so that you don't have problems down the road. But if you do, you just, you made it, so it's easy enough for you to fix it. And I have this sitting on parchment paper so it doesn't stick too bad, because it's going to be so covered with glue that it will want to stick. Oh, that one piece is going a whole lot further than I thought it would. That's good. And I'm enjoying all the comments that I'm getting on the series. I'm glad that you like it. I wasn't really sure. I know a lot of the people that I know here, they've been crafting forever and they have everything, but every once in a while I would get comments about, I'd love to do that, but I don't have those things. And I thought it would just be kind of a fun series to do. And, I've crafted ever since I was a child, but I didn't have a lot of crafty items either. I just made it myself, And so I thought I would come back on and help anyone who's new that doesn't have a lot of money for their crafts to still be able to craft along with everyone else. And I'm trying to stick in with, you know, things that you need, and like getting the paintbrushes this week. You know, you really need to have some paintbrushes, but we fit them into the budget, and that's what counts. And but I'm trying to kind of stick with the different types of things that are being done right now on YouTube, so that I'm going to rip this corner too, so that if you are new to crafting and you're watching the YouTube videos, I'm trying to make it so that you can kind of do some of the other things that people are doing on here. So I'm trying to get together the items that will do that for you. I know this is kind of I'm a little bit close to the camera here, and I'm really having fun, and I'm hoping to try and do this for a full year. I keep thinking I don't know if I'll have enough ideas for a whole year, but then I just keep, you know, more things that I want to show pop into my head, so I'm happy about that. As my mom would say, the good Lord's looking out over me, because He's making it possible for me to do what I want to do. There we go. I'm just going to rip this last corner, and this whole box will be covered. I could just rip that extra paper off because I've already got it covered here, but since I've got the paper, there's no reason to rip it off. Just finish gluing it down. There we go. There. It was as easy as that. Now the whole box is covered with newspaper. The reason I did the newspaper first is for strength, and also so that you wouldn't see, when I put the tissue paper on, you wouldn't see the stuff that was on the box. Fold that over so it's going to dry, and I'm going to set it on the side I didn't have to put paper on. So that's that. I'll be back to put some tissue on it as soon as it's dry. Okay, so my box is dry enough to mess with. It's not completely dry, but it's definitely dry enough to handle. And my Rolodex, that are my roll top desk, and my little drawer set that I made are both decorated in the red, green, yellow, and blue tissue paper. So I've decided to do this the same, because sometimes I just have to do matchy-matchy. It's really funny because I chose this set of tissue paper because it had the most in it. And then when I went to decorate my box, it's what I had. I didn't have anything else. We hadn't purchased more tissue paper for our series. And so it's what I have to use. And I think it's really quite funny because these are not necessarily my colors. My colors are much more browns and greens, and you know, I do like the darker colors, and even like I like purple and blue, and I like blue. I do like in this package, I really like the green that's with it. Kind of a lime green or something, a bright green, but. And then I did my roll top desk in those colors. And therefore now I'm decorating everything else in the same colors. Partly because it's what I have, and partly because I like things to match. If they're all going to be sitting there together, I want them all to look the same, if I can, if I'm making them, you know. So I'm having to make everything in colors that were not necessarily my first choice. Well, it was my choice. I chose this tissue paper. But I'm also finding that kind of fun because I don't normally use these colors, so it's actually making me use them, and that's quite cool. You have to. I have a hard time when I have to work with reds, especially. I have a really hard time doing anything. I can't tell if it looks good because I do not like the color red. And so I look at something and think, oh, that's no good. So I'm just having to teach myself. How to use colors that are not my favorite. Because sometimes you have to do something special for someone, and their color may not be your color, your favorite color. So you want to be able to work with any color. I'm just going to put this one right here. But again, I'm just using my water glue, and I just cut strips of tissue paper. I did my roll top desk in kind of like flowers, and then I did my drawer unit in geometric shapes. So I thought that I would do this one in stripes. And there we go. So, and you know, if in going through this series, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Sometimes I feel like I go too fast. My kids always say I over-explain everything to death. So I'm trying to hit a happy medium, but I'm sure that sometimes I may do something that I didn't explain what I did, and it may not be obvious. So please feel free to ask. I really enjoy getting your questions. You know, when I know that you're looking for something, it makes me happy to be able to help you out with that. Instead of, you know, I would hate to think that I'm leaving somebody hanging and not explaining well enough. But there we go. Well, that's looking all right. I like the funnies under there. I went through when I was getting ready to do this, and I pulled the funnies out of every one of our newspapers, because we put them, in the wintertime we burn them to start the fire, and then in the summertime we take them to recycle. So I figured I better get them out of there before we go to recycle, or otherwise I won't have any to play with. When I was a kid, my dad used to, a lot of times, he would wrap presents in the Sunday funnies, which are colorful. And that was always kind of fun. Usually when he did that, it was because the present was quite large. And, you know, they didn't want to put wrapping paper on it and use that much wrapping paper. So, and for some reason, I'm not really sure why, but my dad was always the one that, if it was getting wrapped in the funny papers, it was always my dad that wrapped it. Or you know him as Papa. So, but that was always, it was fun. And so I like to put these, when I put the funnies under there and I can kind of see them through there, it just kind of reminds me of that every time I do it. Oops, I guess I shouldn't have pushed that down. There we go. And I appreciate all the comments. When Papa does a video, he just loves to hear your comments. And there's so many nice comments for him. But he really does enjoy. He enjoys YouTube as much as I do. He doesn't watch YouTube. He watches videos if we send something out. He always watches the video when they receive it. But, and then he always keeps track of what I'm doing. Have I done a video? What kind of video did I do? Do I have my... He checks on these videos, wanting to know, you know, like, do I have it done? Do I have... I usually have... I try and have at least one ahead. And I was really glad. At Easter, I was 3 ahead, and I used one right before Easter, and I used one the week after Easter because it was a busy Easter for us. And so I was glad that I had those, because I like to be able to put my video up on Tuesday and then do a video on Tuesday for the next week. So, but yes, he keeps track of me, but he does enjoy all of your comments. He will be 94 on his birthday this year, which is in August. And so he makes the comment every so often. He doesn't really have a lot of people left. All of his brothers and sisters have passed on. He is the second to the oldest out of 7. And a lot of his friends, most of his friends. Let's see, my mom and dad moved up here next to us 22 years ago. And so, you know, they did make a lot of friends up here. And he really only has just one friend left here. And a few friends back where they lived before they moved up here next to us. But at his age, he always comments on how everybody's gone. And I think that has to be awfully hard. I'll break that one right there. So he does enjoy your comments. And I think that I probably better see. I've got that side and that side, that side. Oh, we only need 2 more pieces right here. I could get those on there really quick. And then this will be ready as soon as it's dry to put my brushes back in. Obviously, there's really nothing you can do to the top. I mean, I suppose you could if you wanted to be very intricate. But I'm not. I don't think I would have the ability to try and decorate the top with all those little tiny squares. The only thing you could do would be to fold something over each one or paint them. You could paint them. But once all the brushes are in there, you're not going to see that anyway. So here it is. This is the box. Now, I'm going to only have this many because I like seeing the cartoons between there. So I'm not going to put any more layers. If I wanted to have those covered up even more, I would just wait till this dried just a little bit and then just go in and put the same color in the same places, and it would make the colors pop more. But this is my brush box. I hope that you like it, and thank you very much for watching. I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.